So, for the past 3 years, the questions have been who will be Donald Trump's vice president pick? Because let's be real, we all knew Donald Trump was going to be the Republican nominee for president once again in the year of 2024. We all knew that was going to happen. It was absolutely no one to beat him. We wondered who will run against him and who will be his VP pick. And you know what? I had a lot of wild theories. For the longest, I thought it was going to be Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, like a lot of people did. I think that was like the betting favorites for the longest, and then he decided to run for president for some odd reason. I honestly don't know why he was running for president. I really don't. I really don't. Like I understand he was a really hyped person in the Republican Party, but he just like didn't meet expectations. We heard names float around like Vivek Ramaswamy. He rose to national prominence after he ran for president, well, during his presidency run. Ben Carson, uh, Kristi Noem, Elise Stefanik, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, Kim Reynolds, I heard at one point, but it definitely wasn't going to be her because I believe she endorsed DeSantis over Trump. I feel like I'm forgetting some names. Tim Scott at one point. I knew that it was not going to be Mike Pence. We all knew it wasn't going to be Mike Pence. They had a pretty ugly public breakup on January the 6th, 2021. Yeah, it's no coming back from that. And then he ran against him for president too. Y'all remember that? Y'all know Mike Pence ran for president? I kind of feel like that's a fever dream. You know, Mike Pence running for president. It was so unmemorable. Mike Pence himself is so unmemorable. I need to stop talking smack about Mike Pence for real. But Mike Pence, I just don't know about him. He just frustrates me. But anyway, back on track. So we finally find out Trump locked down the nomination. Um, and at the RNC, he finally picked his VP. I think he should have picked a woman or Tim Scott. I honestly do. I think he should have picked a woman because he kind of has a woman issue with abortion. And I thought he was going to pick Kristi Noem at one point, and then she wrote about her dog in a book, so that was definitely out the window. Then comes Nikki Haley. She would have been the smart choice. I still think that to this day, really would have been a really good choice for moderates and independents to latch on. But his base, I don't think they would have liked that too much. So there goes her. Tim Scott, it wasn't gonna be him. I thought he had a good chance, but then I thought about not really. So it was down to three people: JD Vance, Marco Rubio, Doug Bertram. He is the Burgum. He's the governor of North Dakota. Let's talk about why Marco Rubio would have been good. Marco Rubio would have been good because he's young, he's charismatic, he could talk, and he would have helped him with the Hispanic base. The biggest problem with Marco Rubio and Trump is they live in the same state. You cannot do that when you run for president and vice president. You will have to give up all of your the points you get from there, the delegates you get from there, and they wasn't. And Trump isn't going to do that. I heard rumors that maybe Marco Rubio was going to resign from the Senate and then move to Nevada. That's the rumors I heard. I don't know how true that is, but he didn't get the job. Doug Burgum, the governor of North Dakota, he ran for president of the United States. So did Marco Rubio in 2016, and he said some other things about Trump that is not appropriate for YouTube. You can look it up on YouTube. I'm not risking getting struck down or anything saying what he said, but you can go find the video. I might link it down in the description down below. But then we had Doug, the governor of North Dakota, who ran for president against Trump in 2024, and he was very interesting because he was boring, and that's a good thing. He was boring. He was very boring. He was a Mike Pence Mike Pence with the money. Like, he has lots of money. That man is loaded. That's who he reminded me of, and that's why I see the comparisons all the time. I said, you know what? It makes sense. It makes sense. It really does. Want to have help with the abortion issue because his state has one of the most strictest abortion laws in the nation. So that wouldn't have helped either. And then you look at Ohio Senator JD Vance, who he eventually picked. JD Vance is from the Midwest. He needs Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Ohio. He needs those states. He needs, I believe, at least two of them to at least win the presidency. And JD Vance is young. He could carry on MAGA. He is the first millennial on a major party ticket for president or VP. And yeah, it made sense for him to pick JD Vance. I see why he picked JD Vance, especially since it's a good story. And I say it's a good story for multiple reasons. First things first is Trump and Vance weren't always on the same page. JD Vance has had some harsh things and had some harsh criticisms of the former president. He really has said some really mean things, disrespectful things, really criticized Donald Trump in the past. And he was able to criticize him, and then Trump's presidency changed his mind, and they were able to develop a bond where Trump thought he was good enough to be his VP. Really, him and Trump Jr. Donald Trump Jr. really liked JD Vance, and from what I was hearing, I heard that Trump really wanted to go with Doug, but Trump Jr. apparently was like, "Nah, go with JD Vance." He like really pitched hard for JD Vance. So that's one good story. He is a friend. He's a full term friend. And so is Doug, and so is Marco Rubio. All of these people, basically, almost every person on his list to be VP was a full term rival. And people say Trump is all about loyalty, 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 which he is. But it's a good story, like I said, what he's doing with JD Vance, from criticizing him, calling him some very things that you don't call people, to becoming his VP nominee. That's a story. And JD Vance himself is a story. He has a book turned movie called Hillbilly Elegant. Um, and he describes how he grew up. He describes how his mother was on drugs, addicted to drugs. He was raised by his grandmother, single mother. His dad divorced his mom and left him hanging, and he had drugs, crime all around him. He ended up going to serve in the military. Not only did he serve in the military, but he went to Ohio State University. And not only did he go to Ohio State University, he got his law degree from Yale. He graduated from, got a law degree from Yale. JD Vance is the American dream. So when somebody asks me what does he bring to the ticket, it's three things JD Vance brings to the ticket. Number one, he brings a good story. Friend turned foe of the no, yeah, full term friend of the former president, and then number two, he represents the American dreams. Is nobody is no way that nobody could ever predict this would happen. He didn't even think this would happen. He literally went from a horrible childhood to serving the nation in the military, to going to Ohio State, to going to Yale. Not only did he go to Yale, but then he became very successful. Then he decided to run for the Senate, and he was in last place of the Senate race 3 or 4 days before we actually voted here in Ohio in the primary. He got endorsed by Trump, and that skyrocketed him to not only being the front runner, but winning and eventually winning the Senate seat in November. And not only did he do all of that, but he is now the vice presidential nominee for the Republican ticket in 2024. That is an American dream. That is a good story. So those are two reasons. And the third reason why is because of where he is. He's in Ohio, Midwest guy. Trump needs the Midwest states. He really does. He needs to the bill wall, the blue wall. He gonna send JD Vance, and JD Vance is gonna be pricking at it. So be pricking at it. He gonna be trying to get his way through that blue wall and turn at least two of them, or maybe possibly all of them, red. So those are the three reasons why. Midwest guy, Trump needs Pennsylvania, Michigan, Ohio, Wisconsin to win. Not only that, but he has good stories. He was a full-term friend of the former president. He criticized him harshly, and now is one of his biggest supporters, one of his biggest allies. And then not only that, but he went from poverty, he went from surrounded by drugs, from a tough childhood to the American dream. He went from that to being the vice president nominee for a major party in America, for the Republican Party. And he is one step closer to becoming vice president and possibly running for president. So all in all, I'm okay with Trump's pick. Like I said, I think he could have did better. I honestly think Nikki Haley was a better choice. Tim Scott possibly would have been a better choice to me too, but at the end of the day, he went with who he thought would be best. And like I said, it's not out of left field. It makes complete sense why he picked JD Vance. Honestly, he needs the Midwest states. He's a Midwestern Republican. He's from Ohio. He had a rough childhood, American dream. It's just a very cool and interesting story. I really do believe that. You let me know what you think about JD Vance getting picked as Trump's VP pick down in the comment section down below. Until next time, be good people. Steven Counter out. Peace.